All hail the Foundry,
Oh.
by all means. I've been thinking about buying a Steam Deck to make my daily 90-minute commute to
Mm.
work a little bit more enjoyable. However, I can't help but fear that Valve could release a Steam Deck 2 within 3 days exactly of me receiving it. The Steam Deck hardware is now 3 years old at this point, and AMD has released multiple generations beyond both its CPU and GPU spec, so an updated version seems somewhat reasonable. Gentlemen, I'd like to hear your opinions and predictions regarding a possible next Steam Deck, which is a question I think many of us have thought about often. But Alex, like whenever Valve has talked about next generation Steam Deck, they've always made it very clear that they want a true generational leap. And I think we've not necessarily seen a gigantic generational leap in this mobile space yet, from certainly from AMD and also from elsewhere, that would warrant Steam Deck 2,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, I mean, Oliver is going to have a lot to say about this for certain, but I also agree that at the moment, if you were really concerned about wanting to fill up, I'm sorry, you have to commute 90 minutes. That sounds
That's a
ridiculous.
long, yeah.
If you want to fill that time in a way that you're having fun with it, I think a Steam Deck is actually a great way to fill it, and I don't think you have to worry about a new Steam Deck 2 for a good amount of time. And I think Oliver can say specifically why.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would just to answer his question here. I think just within if it's within 3 days, you could return it.
Yeah.
You could return it.
Oh,
So I wouldn't worry about that too much. If you suspect it will be within 3 days, then there will be no issue there.
there you go.
There we
But
go.
I'd say generally that Valve tends to be pretty leaky, and I've not seen like I mean, geez, the HLX leaks are crazy now. Like
Yeah,
all
they're
the
nuts.
all the stuff that's getting leaked out about new kind of systems, new gameplay, new rendering features, everything like that in the HLX, which we presume is a new Half-Life title. Since it kind of leaked initially, there's been a ton about that. There's a lot about the new Deckard system from Valve, which seems like a Valve Index 2. And a lot of other devices, it's also been leaked that there is a revision of the Aerith or Van Gogh Steam Deck APU that has a slightly higher clock rate. I think it's 2 gigahertz in the GPU, or maybe 1.8 gigahertz in the GPU, and then 3.8 gigahertz in the CPU. A lot is leaked out, but nothing is leaked out about the Switch or about the Steam Deck 2, right? So that certainly suggests that, maybe it's not going to be anytime soon. That's what I would say. In terms of an update, there are some technologies they could bring to bear. Obviously, the Steam Deck has a Zen 2 based 4-core CPU on one kind of cluster there. That's not ideal. They could go to Zen 5, conceivably. RDNA 3.5 could be on the table for a GPU upgrade there, potentially. They could use a different configuration, maybe, I don't know, wider memory interface, more cache, different things they could do potentially to improve performance within the context of a bandwidth limited mobile chip. But we do know that RDNA 4 is probably off the table because of contributions to, I think, AMD's Linux drivers. They specifically designate RDNA 4 as DGPU only, which would preclude its inclusion in an APU of the kind that would be suitable for Steam Deck. So I'm not totally sure. I think that on balance, it's likely that we will probably see an update to Steam Deck. Maybe next year, maybe this year. I think it's got to come at some point because the Steam Deck is at this point it's a 3-year-old console. It really is. I think it's over 3 years old at this point. Probably should get some kind of upgrade there. But in terms of what they would do with it, I don't think it would necessarily be something that's like a super clear linear, like throw Strix Point in there or something and call it a day. I think it'd have to be more than that. So exactly what that would be, I'm not quite sure at the moment, but it's not clear to me that we would be something like off the shelf at AMD, unless they wanted to wait for 2027 or something, get like a UDNA GPU in there or something, but that seems like an awful long time to wait.
I mean, within the next year or two or more, I don't know. I feel like we're going to see Microsoft's attempt at this sort of handheld strategy, right? Where they're attempting to transform Windows into its own sort of like gaming platform, similar to what SteamOS is for Linux. Um, and I have to wonder if Valve is also, playing caution there. Not that they necessarily have too much to worry about with their own little market corner right now. The Steam Deck is quite popular in the handheld PC space, but you know, there's gonna be a lot of conversation around that stuff sooner than later. So I don't know. Maybe that has some influence as well. Guess we'll have to wait and see.